The timing of the Lord matters. Now, when you look at the story of Esther in the Bible, it's a very popular one. You've read it a couple times, you've heard your favorite preacher preach about it. But have you noticed that in the story of Esther, it seemingly looks like the Lord was silent? From verse 6, we are told that the king is unable to sleep. And then what does he do next? He asks for the book, right? For the record. And then he decides to go through the records and see that, oh, once upon a time, a man named Mordecai did something for me and he wasn't rewarded. Coincidentally, what happens next? We see that Haman was in the same chambers to ask that Mordecai be hanged on the thing that he had prepared for Mordecai to hang and die, right? And he was there to ask the king for permission. And then somehow, as Haman enters the chambers and is before the king asks Haman, oh, what do you think I should do to honor a man that deserves honoring? And coincidentally, again, Haman thinks that the king is referring to him and says, oh, let the person ride on your horses. I'm sure he was just thinking about it. Oh, how wonderful this would be for me. Unknown to him that he was telling the king what to do for a man that he was there to ask for permission to end his life. Now, this can look like a coincidence to you, but it is not a coincidence at all. And what is so funny to me is that throughout, even down to verse 7, you see that the Lord never said anything. The Lord was silent, but the Lord was orchestrating every single thing. The Lord had planned every single thing. And so the question for you today is, are you resting knowing that the Lord has planned every single thing in your situation? Do you recognize that the Lord's timing is perfect to the very T in the word perfect? I feel like sometimes if you're like me, you can recognize it and then forget. And you find yourself, worrying all over again. And that is okay. But one thing I have learned to do when I find myself worrying is to remind myself of who God is. Yes, even when I'm throwing a tantrum, I just remind myself God is still on that throne. God is still God. And so we can rest knowing that. And honestly, anytime I remember, it gives me a sense of peace, even in my tantrums, that God is the God above all else, and nothing happens without His permission, especially to those who are righteous, to those who He has called the sons of God. Nothing happens without His permission. So today, I need you to be rest assured that God has everything under His perfect control. Just look at the story of Mordecai, how everything played out, right? To an unbeliever, they think is a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that when a person is there to ask for someone else to be dead, they are coincidentally planning a soiree for the person. Like, make it make sense. you know, Nothing happens outside of God, and God has the good and perfect plan for you. Yes, you wish that by this time so and so would have been done, but nothing is outside of God's working. Okay? So rest assured, my dear. Be rest assured. Be rest assured. Rest in the timing of God and look to Him. Align yourself with His timing. Another thing I wanted to point out, right? Found myself doing something that I preached about, which is searching for the signs. Unknowingly, I was making presumptions. Oh, maybe I should be here, maybe I should be there. And one thing that the Holy Spirit, which was very timely, sent to me through a message I found on YouTube was that when it comes to God's timing, and there is alignment, there is no need for you to stress. There is no need for you to question. There is no need for you to make assumptions or even presume. There is no need. It comes to you. You don't need to go and search for it. It comes to you. So, my dear beloved, do not miss this Kairos moment. Do not miss what God is preparing for you because you have your heart and your eyes on something else. Be rest assured, knowing that He has you in His arms. Be safe and just rest. Okay? Rest. Pray to God, rest. Cry to God, rest. Be rest assured. I love you. Have a lovely one. Bye.